again, my village I will find. I long to see that dear old home as memories fill my mind. I'll wander down the friendly street, I'll climb the castle grey, to view the gorse-bright fields around the lovely Dundrum Bay.
The village of Dundrum, nestling at the foothills of the County Down drumlins as they sweep to the sea. It's been a settlement for centuries, its harbour and strategic position being recognised by the Normans in the 12th century.
Beside my Dundrum home.
For many travelling from Downpatrick in the north, it offers perhaps the most spectacular view on these islands. In 2009, the GAA celebrated 125 years as an organisation, calling on the clubs around the country and the world to celebrate. Dundrum Gaelic Club took the opportunity with both hands and saw the chance to celebrate their own achievements. This is their story, full of triumph and tragedy.
An old Vincent Murray got arrested. He's 5 bob.
Top of the list.
Well, now, because we hired his cars.
He was obliged to pay more than others.
That's correct.
He was going to get it back.
Well, Paddy Fitzpatrick again. At Mount Pan. No, that's... Where do we see now? Where do we get this right now?
Cunningham, much beloved among members of the club, as much for his sense of fun as his dedication to the club. Another early stalwart was Paddy Cunningham, who explained the difficulties for the club in those early days.
Well, right from that time, in that first team, they tried to keep it going here. It's difficult to keep it going, because you had a lot of opposition in those days, with cricket teams and such things as that. The young fellas, you know, it was difficult just to get teams lined up all the time.
During that time, he would say it was hard football. No question asked, you went for the ball, you went for the ball. And in fact, actually, he lost his front teeth playing football. He went in to separate two fellas that were fighting, and the opposite player hit him. And my father didn't retaliate, didn't do anything. He just looked at the fella and told him, he says, I thought you were a bigger man than that. And apparently that just gutted him. It just floored the player, because he realised what he had done was totally wrong. And that's how my father ended up with his false teeth. But he would also say, during that time, Paddy Ward, who I think were butchers, we would have called him. Butcher was, again, very hard man, but a very fair. If he would have stood up and looked after the young players on the team, like my cousin there, Henry Flynn, and it was always relayed to me then in the case again, where Henry was taken out by a much older player, because Henry would have been playing for Dundrum at that age, maybe 16, 17 as well of age, and the player took him out, but the next ball that this player went for, Butcher took him straight out of it.
I just can go back to my father's mother and father and the yard in Dundrum, which was Mary Flynn's, and it was a farm. There was a little yard there that they kept maybe 20 cows and milked maybe 13 cows, and they had a pub as well. And I suppose that was the time when in Dundrum the harbour was in full flight, and boats were coming in. They were coming in with timber, and they were going out with potatoes. And the trains would, at that particular time, would have been up and down the main street, really, where the football field is, the old railway line, where Dundrum GAA pitch is at this moment in time.
Throughout the 40s and 50s, Dundrum had many athletics events, usually held in what's known locally as Joe Rooney's Field, the present-day site for the club.
In those days, we had top athletes from all over Ireland. Dave Gainey, who represented Ireland in the shot put at the Olympic Games. John Joe Barry, who was the All-Ireland male champion. I'm sure people will know the names. And they were the top athletes in Ireland that would have come to compete in Dundrum. And we had Dundrum people competing against them, namely Tommy McShane, who would have competed against these top athletes. And as I say, a week before, the pitch that we have now, that was the field that we had the sports in. And a week leading up to the sports, all the voluntary labour that were there, marking out the pitch and getting it ready for these championships. And Dan McNeil, a famous person now from Dundrum, he was a cousin of Danny Flynn, the All-Ireland trainer, the football trainer. And he would have been there organising and marking out the track. He was eventually the principal of the Downpatrick Technical School, and he would have marked out the track for running, and we had the lanes and all that sort of thing then marked. Now, how he marked the pitch was very interesting. He would have his car. He would have marked put a white mark on the tire, and he would have counted the revolutions of the field, and that's how he would have marked out the mile or the 100 yards or what it was in those days, and that's how he came about that.
Locally born primary school headmaster and Henry's father, Danny Flynn, taught and encouraged pupils in all things gymnastic.
This was from Aloysius Rooney, the secretary of Dundrum Football Club, and it reads, "Dear Edward, on this wonderful and most historic occasion, I wish to congratulate you on behalf of the committee and members of the Dundrum GFC for the magnificent game that you played on Sunday last. A game which without any shadow of doubt contributed largely to Downs winning their first All-Ireland Senior Football Championship."
Mick O'Connell then, as he is now, was one of the greatest Gaelic footballers of all time, and that has been recognised in the centenary year when he was picked at midfield on the great teams, great players of all times. I was picked on the Down team to mark Mick O'Connell.
Which for one reason or another it didn't take place, and I sort of vowed that if I took the job on, that I would do all of my power to get the pitch named after the late Jack Kilty. I think it possibly dragged on a bit, and on the 10th of May 2009 it was just a fantastic day for this club, and one of the proudest moments I have been involved with the club.
Works. There is a flag, a lovely flag. Congratulations to the club and the strong football part. Very fitting again. Again, thank you very much, and I sincerely hope that you have great enjoyment and that what you get in front of them. So give them my out for that.
Our look back over the last 8 decades has probably only scraped the surface of the true Dundrum story. Not every player, victory or loss can be captured in one video presentation. Rest assured, those memories lie elsewhere, preserved by those who lived them. Dundrum Gaelic Club has had its ups and downs over its 75-year history, but at its core, it has a great pride and spirit that will surely help it to endure and prosper for another 75 years.
The beautiful sleep down at high, Lord of the mighty hills, will see me there and know his own and soothe away my ills. By his command the birds will sing and the breeze and waves will say that I am welcome home again to lovely Dundrum Bay. All sweet and pleasant there, strange